Good morning, boys and girls. Today's story is kind of a special one to me. It's called Stevie's Day Off, and it's a book that I've had for a really long time because the author is Elizabeth Hogan, and it's illustrated by Nina Iyer. And Nina Iyer was my next door neighbor when I was a little girl growing up. And when it came time for her to draw the pictures for this book, she needed a little boy who was about 4 years old to be her model. And she asked my little brother Lee to be her model. So she drew pictures of my brother. He's not little anymore. He's all grown up now. When he was little for this book. And so I'm going to go ahead and read it. This story is fiction, but it's realistic fiction. That means it's something that could happen, but it didn't actually happen. Okay? So Stevie's Day Off by Elizabeth Hogan, illustrated by Nina Iyer. Stevie skipped into his room at nursery school. "Guess what, Mrs. Dalton?" he exclaimed. "Mommy doesn't have to go to work tomorrow. I get to stay home with her. We're having a day off together." "Oh, Stevie, how exciting," said Mrs. Dalton. "I know tomorrow will be a special day for you." Stevie nodded happily. He went to play with his friends in the block area. He could hardly wait to spend the next day at home. So he's excited to be at school, but he's excited to spend some time at home too. When Stevie woke up in the morning, he did not have to jump out of bed and dress quickly. Instead, he snuggled under his warm covers. He stretched his legs and wiggled his toes. He heard his mommy and daddy talking in the kitchen. Hearing their voices made him feel nice and warm inside. Then Stevie heard Daddy tell Mommy goodbye. He hopped out of bed and waved bye to Daddy from his window. Stevie felt very hungry. He began to put on his clothes. It felt nice not to hurry. He had time to button each button and work on tying his shoes. Finally, they were tied as well as he could tie them. Stevie went downstairs. "Good morning, Sleepyhead," teased his mother. "Are you ready for some pancakes?" "Hurrah!" shouted Stevie. "I like pancakes the best." After breakfast, Stevie played with his blocks and cars. He built bridges and houses and tall buildings. It was fun to play with his own toys, but Stevie missed having his friends help him build and play. Stevie called Mother. "How would you like to go shopping with me?" "Oh boy," shouted Stevie, "I'm ready to go now." Mother and Stevie had many places to go. First, they went to the grocery store and bought many good things to eat. Then they stopped at the bookstore and bought books. They got a special one for Grandmother for her birthday. Next, they went to the post office to mail some letters. Last of all, they stopped at the ice cream shop for chocolate ice cream cone. "This has been the best day ever," said Stevie. "We've had a special day together," agreed Mother. Stevie frowned. "I wish it could be every day," he said. "So do I," said Mother, "but I'm glad that we got to have this special day, just the two of us. And I'm glad that you have a happy school to go to play with your friends." When Stevie woke up the next morning, he felt very cranky. Mother was calling for him to hurry. He was trying to hurry, but his buttons just wouldn't seem to button right. And when he tried to tie his shoes, the bows got all knotted and tangled. His fingers just didn't seem to be working fast enough that morning. "Let me help you with your shoes, Stevie," said Mother. "We're running late this morning." Stevie would have rather tied his own shoes. He felt all mad and upset inside. "I wish I didn't have to go anywhere," he grumbled. Stevie frowned and grumbled during the long ride to school. He really wanted to stay at his house with Mother. When Mother and Stevie walked into his schoolroom, Mrs. Dalton said, "Good morning, Stevie. Did you have a happy day off?" Stevie just hung his head and didn't answer. Mother kissed Stevie on the cheek and said goodbye. Stevie sat down and put his head on the table. Mrs. Dalton put her arms around Stevie. It's hard to come back to school after a day off, isn't it, Stevie? Stevie felt so sad he could only nod his head. Why don't you sit here until you feel better? Then you can play with your friends. Stevie watched his friends playing. Everyone looked happy. His special friend Jeff was playing with blocks and cars. Watching Jeff made Stevie remember how he had wanted a friend to play with on his day off. Stevie, called Jeff, I saved the red car for you. Stevie grinned. That was his favorite car. He went over to the block area. He spent the rest of the morning building houses and bridges with Jeff. Stevie forgot how cranky and sad he had felt earlier that morning. That afternoon, when Mother came, Stevie ran over and gave her a big hug. Did you have a happy day? Asked Mother. Oh, yes, said Stevie. I had fun playing with my friends. My favorite place is home, but I like my school too. So I hope you're enjoying your days off at home with your parents, but you'll also be super excited when you get to come back to school again too. So enjoy your stay off, and we'll see you hopefully real soon.